Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with Pacific Nut Producer Magazine, reporting to you here today from the American Pistachio Growers annual conference here in Monterey this year. We've had a great turnout. I'm here with Joel Nelsen. He's the Interim President of the organization. Just started November 30th, right, of 2023.
Correct.
Wanted to talk with you here today, introduce yourself to the industry here. You've been around in agriculture for a long time. We've worked together from the California Citrus Mutual, but tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I've always worked, as I said in some remarks this morning, I've always worked with people that put food on the table. So I was in the produce industry in Southern California for a decade in education and information, public relations. I worked my way through college stacking apples in the produce department. That was fun. And then as I was working in the Los Angeles area, I get a call from an orange grower saying, hey, can you come up to the San Joaquin Valley and work for Citrus Mutual? And I said, where? They said, Visalia. I said, where's that? And they said, go north on 99 and turn right. And it ended up being a 39-year career that was wonderful.
That's great. And now this is your first pistachio conference, right?
That's correct. When I came in on November 30th, the executive committee gave me some ideas that I needed to work on. They told me the conference was coming on. It was pretty much put together, but one still had to make sure everything was coordinated correctly, and so I provided a little bit of oversight relative to programming, and that was about it. The staff does a heck of a job in putting this together, and I think it's obvious the turnout that we've got. It's a record.
That's great. So moving forward, you mentioned some plans and some changes we're making to the organizations. I know we've had quite a few changes in staff.
Yes.
And the team's been building up, and wanted to get your input on your vision for the future of this organization.
We had an uncertain climate within the office because there had been so many transitions that took place. And so a tenured employee, they just weren't there. The majority of them were around for 3 years or less, and there wasn't the guidance that was appropriate for interaction with directors. On the other hand, the directors were creating an organization that wanted to do good for the industry, but they needed a little bit more coordination out of the staff, and that leadership was missing. So they decided some changes were necessary. One of the first things I told the staff is, contrary to popular belief, whatever the executive committee said, I don't walk on water, but I'm a hell of a swimmer. And so from then on, we just figured out how we could work together, reevaluate some things, maybe change a few things, which I've done, and get the board and the staff a lot more motivated to work together for the betterment of this industry.
So what are some examples of some changes that the growers should expect to see in the near future? You mentioned some emails that they might be getting, for example.
I believe in being totally transparent with your membership. They're giving you a lot of dues, and they need to know what you're doing and how you're creating value for them. And value for them is net return per acre. That's what's important. Yeah, the price per pound is a dynamic, the volume per acre is a dynamic, but the net return per acre is what's important. So we're going to start talking about that a little bit more. We send out one newsletter a month, then we send out a little grower relations communication. Now we're going to send out a second newsletter that's going to speak in a rather short, abbreviated, but intense manner so that the membership has a good idea of what challenges we're addressing on their behalf.
And then for those growers that weren't able to make it at the conference here, what would be your message to them, moving forward? Because we are in interesting times, and there's been a lot of uncertainty, I think, around a lot of our crops in agriculture. But, just with the increasing pistachio acreage and the crop coming on in the future, what would be your message to them?
I tell the board, I've told the membership that, look, we know there's challenges that are looming. Farming in California is not easy. We've got a lot of non-bearing acreage. This means we're going to have more tonnage. And I can rattle off a number of other things that we should be on the lookout for, and we are. So if you're addressing a challenge now, you're going to fix it before it becomes a crisis. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to identify what needs to be addressed within the next year and just be prepared for it. We're going to have our committees are reforming, re-energizing. There's room for people on the committees, members, and it's going to be a little bit more intense than what it was. The challenges don't come to us by calendar. They come and they get developed, and if we wait to get the input from the grower base, we might be all might be all done. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing some grower meetings in various areas of the state, small ones, not big fancy things. We're going to sit down, we're going to have a cup of coffee or have a beer or maybe have lunch and just talk about what we're doing and what they're seeing, what's bothering them. We're doing that. We're going to be using, fortunately, I have some relationships still at USDA. They're helping us produce a series of films relative to our farming practices that can be distributed around the world, and they're going to do it. And they've got this grant, and it came about a couple of years ago, and they said, look, we want to help the pistachio industry. We're in it. So that's coming about too. So there's a lot of new things coming on the horizon that we're going to be talking about over the course of the next 6 months that I think, I'm almost positive, it's going to positively impact the net return per acre.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the helm here and working with our pistachio industry, and look forward to seeing some of these changes and the benefits that come from them. Read more about it in Pacific Nut Producer Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.